This is going to be a cautionary tale for people thinking of investing in rentals. I still think it's a good investment, and our situation is going to be okay, but this situation is a nightmare. And this story does happen often enough, so it's really good to know what you can get into. So we bought this house a little over a year ago. My mom and I are both realtors, and we've done some investments together in the past. The market was still pandemic crazy, but we came across this great deal about 5 minutes from my house. Great neighborhood. The house had an awesome yard, a 2-car garage. The floor plan was kind of chopped up and dark, but we could see the potential. And we thought it would be a great house to rent out since it's in a desirable neighborhood that we wouldn't mind being invested in longer term. Again, it's 5 minutes from my house, easy call. There was a bidding war on the house, but we still got it for a price that we were happy with. And the first thing we did was take out the wall between the living room and the dining room. Cut a half wall into the kitchen to make kind of bar, really just open up the space to make it more inviting. The result was like a whole different house. After that, we replaced the floors, did some basic cleanup, and it was ready to put out on the market. Our policy, whether we're doing a rental or a flip house, is it has to end up at least as nice or nicer than what's normal for the neighborhood. And it has to be in a condition that we would be willing to live in if we were on the market as renters. Treat others the way you want to be treated. We listed it, got a few rental applications, and decided to go with this nice couple that was applying for a 2-year lease at a rate that we were comfortable with to cover our mortgage costs. Things went smoothly for a while. They paid on time, only a few reasonable maintenance requests. Things were going good. And then suddenly, 8 months in, they weren't anymore. There was an incident, and one of the tenants trashed the house, like brutal. He broke all the windows on the garage door. He broke the glass on the back sliding door. He punched holes in the wall. He broke the front door, not only the stained glass window on the front door, but he broke the wood of the door itself. Like, who does that? This was all part of a broader conflict between the tenants that I don't really need to go into. It's not mine to share. But the end result of it for our end was removing the person who trashed the house from the lease, and then working with the remaining tenant to let her out early. Since she couldn't afford it anymore on her own, we were generally sympathetic to her situation. So she got moved out. We went in and found so many more holes and damage to drywalls and paneling, stuff hanging on the walls, dirt and grime on the walls and the floors. Like, it looked like somebody took mud and just wiped it down some of the walls. Just gross grime and appliances, residue on the floors, in addition to the broken glass and other things that we need to be replacing already. So we had all this damage, a $1,900 security deposit that would cover some of it, and now each day that we didn't have a new tenant in the house, it was costing us more money. So we had to get to work fast. Cleaning up the inside started with patching drywall, assessing what we could fix, what we need to hire a contractor for, and just getting to work scrubbing the walls and touching up paint. All right, I'm here at the house, and I'd say we're about 80% of the way done getting it back in shape. One of the things that we've been dealing with is really just scrubbing the walls, getting it clean, getting paint touched up. I mean, you can see here where we still need to paint the bottom half of the wall and replace some trim from where a hole was punched in the wall. You can see in the light where some touch-up is still drying and probably need to do a little better job up there. I mean, we've been cleaning, scrubbing, still have some stuff with the floors that we need to get up off from residue, but man, y'all, these walls were disgusting, and we are finally getting closer. The house is looking clean, it's looking presentable. Had to clean up some dings that were on these built-ins that I love these built-ins. Had some holes in this wall that I had to patch and clean up. But yeah, we're just getting this place ready for new people. We've got a new front door going in tomorrow. We put this new slider in the other day, and that looks great after the glass was broken out on that by the tenant as well. Yeah, we're just getting this place ready. We got the front door installed, changed the locks, finished our cleaning, I refinished some of the laminate counters in the bathrooms that we can't quite afford to replace quite yet with a laminate paint that still seals, gives it a cleaner, more modern finish for the new tenant. The outside was a lot more grueling work, to be honest. The tenants hadn't kept up the flower beds at all, so I had a small forest to remove, plus a patch of poison ivy to get rid of on one side of the house that we ended up feeling too trash-bagged. And then there were several elm trees along the back inside of the house that were planted too close to the foundation. This isn't something the tenants did, but in general they pose potential hazards to the structure of the house if we let them keep growing and spreading their roots under the house. Now, in general, it's always good to use a tenant change as a chance to do important upkeep to the house, because the real investment you're making when you only own one property or a couple properties isn't actually the monthly rent. It's the house itself and the way that builds value over time and equity over time. That's more important if you're thinking about going into it. Like, rentals are called a buy and hold strategy. So sometimes you can create a small amount of cash flow from the monthly rent. But unless you have dozens of units, the real investment is the 5 to 10 year growth in home values, not next month's rent. But you do need that money to cover your mortgage costs and the general repairs and maintenance that go on in the house. So we had a local glass company come and replace the windows on the garage and did some touch-up paint there too, mowed the lawn, trimmed the hedges to finish up the outside. We started this process with $2,200 from our security deposit and pet deposit. Figured this probably wouldn't cover all the damage, but with $200 out of pocket at the end of the day, we feel alright about how we did. Again, our policy with our real estate investments is we want to leave the house at least as good as anything else in the neighborhood, and we want it to be something that we would be willing to live in. Our mantra through this whole cleanup process has been leave it better than we found it. After looking at what else was available for rent on the market, we decided to go with a pricing strategy of up a little bit from the previous year's rent, but still lower than the other thing available in the neighborhood, giving us a strong showing and a lot of interest. Once we put it up on the rental market, we had multiple showings in the first day and a ton of showings in the first week. The thing we repeatedly heard from people looking at the house is that it was nicer than anything else they had seen so far. This was super encouraging after all of the literal blood, sweat, and tears that went into turning this over, with hours and hours spent well into the night throughout the last couple weeks. At the time of recording this video, we have several interested renters preparing applications, and we're confident that we're going to have someone occupying the property soon. The total amount of time that we ended up spending on repairs was exactly 2 weeks from the time that the previous tenant got fully moved out. We were especially worried about the timing of this transition being right before the holidays in 2022, and historically this time of year is way slower for the real estate market. So we've been super encouraged with the amount of interest and the fact that we'll be able to get a new family and living this place soon. So the goal of this video wasn't to complain about specific tenants, but to give you an idea of what's a normal situation that isn't ideal that you might run into if you're thinking of investing in rentals. I want to hear in the comments, let me know, what would you have done if you were in our situation? You think you would have done more than we did, less than we did? I want to know your thoughts. Leave those in the comments. Make sure you like this video, share it if you found it helpful, or if you think of anyone else who's thinking about going into the rental investing space that you think might benefit from it. And in general, if you are a person in the Dallas-Fort Worth area who is planning to move, wants to consider investing, wants someone to talk to about the idea of investing in the DFW area, North Texas, and I'm a realtor and I'd love to help with that. I love to do the research. We have experience in multiple investment strategies, and as well as helping people like first-time home owners, first-time home sellers, people who are moving into new and bigger spaces, smaller spaces. We are located in the middle of the DFW and serve the broader area. We'd love to help. Hey, thank you guys for watching today. My name is Chase Hansen. I'm a realtor in the DFW area. Make sure you've liked this video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Check out my other videos. And I will see you next time.